What is up, ladies and gentlemen? How's everyone doing? Welcome back to another beautiful episode of the TraderPrad stream. We are now here on a Wednesday, December 20th, and for some reason I feel like I'm getting sick again. I don't like this. I feel like I'm getting sick again. Maybe you can hear it in my voice. I don't like that, but feeling good still, trading good, feeling good, looking good, hopefully. How is everyone else doing? Feed sound back? What's going on with the sound? Everything okay with the sound? Question. Double sound. Do I have the stream open somewhere? I'm doing fine. I knew the market. Forget that. Oh, it's me. Oh, come on, brother. You tripped me out for a second. I was like, do I have the stream open somewhere? Okay, I'm glad it was you and not me, because then I would have to worry about the problem a little bit longer, but I'm glad that everything's good to go. How's everyone doing? Dieter, welcome. TH, welcome. Market obviously looking pretty weird today. We started off with the monster move to the north side. Microsoft and Google were so bullish. Microsoft and Google actually gave me a couple long opportunities on the day that I capitalized on. But it was kind of messed up later on in the day. All of a sudden the market just crumbled and it was just like no buyer in sight. A lot of people just got caught off guard and the market just crumbled. Timber, as TH says in the chat, yeah, timber mode taking place, in an absolute beautiful downside move that came through. Was marvelous to watch. I also got to capitalize on some of that shorts on IWM. Didn't really trade QQQ. I think I traded the SPY for a quick little short scalp too. That was profitable. But yeah, what a sell-off. Part of that sell-off I feel like came from China's Xi talking to apparently Biden during some summit, and he said that he will unify Taiwan and China. So I believe when that article came out, that newswire came out right around 2:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the market basically started going down at that moment. So it was almost like too much of a coincidence to not think that that was the catalyst, but it could have also just simply been the market was near all-time high, and by the market I'm talking about the QQQ. QQQ was near all-time high, and just did not have enough buying near the all-time high for it to continue going to the north side. So a nice little false breakout and a dive right back to the south side coming in today, and a big sell-off too. So the question is, what happens right now on the market? Yesterday, Trump situation also, that's right, TH reminding me with the whole Democrats Trump situation that's going on, how they're not going to allow him to have his name on the ballot, but that shouldn't stop him from running for president, right? At least I think it should not. So not sure how that one plays out. But yeah, yesterday's Trump catalyst. Today, the Xi Jinping, I don't know how to say his name. I'm just going to say China's Xi, coming out with that catalyst over there. Obviously hurting the market quite a bit. So maybe no Santa Claus rally this year anymore. I know we're just talking about one random event that came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, oh my God! And if you see how the articles on Twitter are coming up, it's basically hashtag stock market crash, which is trending, and it's like, oh come on, guys! It was just one sell-off event. The market's still near all-time highs. Okay, we are still like what, $5-6 away from all-time highs. So it was a little ridiculous to see that trending hashtag going around on Twitter, or sorry, should I say x.com, having that article float around over there was funny. But yeah, I think we should prepare, however, for more downside if that's what the market wants to do. If there are no buyers right now, and sellers are kind of getting ready to push the market back down, the bears going for their one last final strike before being forced into retirement or being put into hibernation. So bears with the one final strike coming out over here. The Christmas Grinch, aka Xi, hurting the market with his own catalyst. So a little bit of watching out, kind of getting ready for a little bit more downside. So we'll take a look at all things that sided on the QQQ, on the S&P 500, on the IWM baskets, and see if we can find any trades for a continuation 2-day downside move. Especially if we get any pops, maybe we can short any pops, and we'll find any areas to be involved into. And then along with that, we have a long list of stocks to go through, starting with earnings stocks like Micron, BlackBerry. Tomorrow morning we got CCL, CarMax. We already have other earnings plays that recently announced earnings like FedEx and GM, so we'll take a look at FedEx and GM for a possible day 2, day 3 type of plays. We'll look at CarMax, CCL, BlackBerry, and Micron for any possible ideas on those and where they could move. Micron and BlackBerry already announced their earnings, so we'll take a live look at see how they moved after hours. And then along with that, we have a big list of stocks to go through, find those levels, find those areas to be interested, because with this sell-off in the market, a lot of positions actually broke previous ranges, moved to a level that they might be interesting into, and some areas that we might want to keep an eye on. So there's going to be a lot of stocks in play tomorrow, and it will be just like a bonanza. You just have to make your pick and obviously trade your stocks the right way. But I think there'll be so many stocks to trade tomorrow. It'll be so much fun. I can't wait to see what type of opportunity set up. So hence we have a long ass watch list to go through. Before we do any of that, we're going to start off with taking a look at a couple of my trades on the day. I have queued up for us Google and I believe, which was the second one? I have Google and Affirm, my number 1 and number 2 trades. And I also have queued up my worst trade on the day, which is Netflix. Netflix should not have been my worst trade on the day, but it ends up being my worst trade on the day because I start tilting a little bit. I was like, no, Netflix is not gonna, take my money away. I'm gonna revenge trade it, and because I revenge trade it, I gave up more, and then more, and then more, and then I realized what I'm doing. I was like, okay, Pratt, you're going full stupid mode. Let's stop this right now. Let's cut it out and then go back to what's actually working, and then that allowed me to stay green on the day, thankfully. So why don't we start off with my trades on the day over here, which is transition to fade. Yeah, awesome. We'll go to my trades on the day, starting with Google. Google, monster move in pre-market itself to the north side. I don't really remember what the news catalyst was for this move on Google, but overall taking Google into one of those ranges that we were actually not expecting to come into play. We were looking at the daily chart yesterday, and we were not expecting these areas to come into play on Google at all. But since they did come into play into pre-market, I kind of had to get ready to, look for some trade ideas, look for some possible opportunities to get into a long. Let the stock open up. It ran up, came down, then started consolidating a little bit. Was offering in this area a lot of times, but every time I would throw an order, the stock would never really go down there, and it would look like it was getting ready to break out. So I would remove my order from the downside and then throw an order on the breakout instead, and then every time it would not break out, I would throw an order back down over here. I'd not get filled. It would start looking like it's getting ready to go back up north, so I would throw an order back up over here, and that whole cycle of constantly putting in orders and removing orders never really was able to get some fills on the downside over here. Maybe I should have just left the order over here and left the order on the breakout. That way, if this one filled, great, but it didn't. So eventually, I only fill that I get is the one on the breakout of this flag. If you look at the stock on the 5-minute chart off the open today, this is the 5-minute chart. Beautiful bear flag, pops up, consolidates above today's VWAP, never really breaks the 9-bar SMA on the 5-minute chart, consolidating off the VWAP and off the 9-bar or the 9 period. Beautifully holding that area, giving you a bear flag right into 140.50. Took the breakout of 140.50, then was just watching the stock to see how it would react on the way down. Took some profits on any sort of first weak signal, took some profits, then on the way back down was watching the tape, after it starts selling and started showing me more buying. The lot that I took out over there, I added that lot back, and then I was watching the stock on the way up over here, and it would just struggle in this area, not really push above this area, so hence you start seeing a little bit more aggressive profit taking, and then I'm done out of this position. Done. Beautiful entries and almost perfect exits. Could have loved for a bigger move up, but never really came in, so wasn't able to hold for that move. Later on, this trade, if you guys remember from yesterday's stream, we were watching that RSI video. So I was looking at Google. You know, maybe Google popped up drastically in pre-market. This might be a little overextended on the daily chart and on multiple time frames. So let me pull up RSI on TradingView and see what the stock looked like right around here on the 15-minute, on the 30-minute, on the 60-minute, on the 1 hour, which is 60-minute, and then look at on multiple larger time frames, all of which said it was pretty oversold. So I waited for the stock to then first show me a red candle on the 5-minute. After showing me a red candle, I waited for it to get below that candle, and then I started looking for the short. So after it got below that candle, that's when I started looking for the shorts, started building into the shorts. But eventually, the tiny pop on the stock over here that came out of it, didn't really like that pop. I was supposed to give the stop all the way till day's high according to that setup video that we saw today. Had I done that, I would have never lost on this position and actually would have been able to scalp my 1R trade. It would have been a perfect 1R, 1:1R trade, so a coin flip, a 50-50 trade. Not the best trade. You never really want to be taking coin flip 50-50 trades. Anytime you flip a coin and you are wrong on that trade, you only want to lose 1 unit of risk. But then anytime you flip a coin and you are right on the trade, you want to make sure you're making 3 or 4, not just 1, right? So 1 unit to 1 risk is not good. You want to be looking for 3 units of reward for 1 unit of risk. So this trade, not really the best trade. I figured I didn't really want to risk it all the way there, and the profit wasn't really too much below VWAP. And even though when the market sold off, look what Google did. Google never really sold under VWAP, right? So actually it might have. This picture was taken at right before the drop. So let's actually show you Google here. Yeah, Google did sell off. So this picture was taken right before the drop came on GOOGL. And I would have been able to, I guess, capture a bigger short on this trade had I given it the proper risk. I would have been able to get my 1R or 2R. But if you ignore the market move that came with the short, Google probably would have never broken VWAP, and I should have never expected a bigger move than that. So Google, at the end of the day, still the RSI trade over there, might have to catalog it and kind of steal that one. From the video that we saw last night, and we will actually be watching that video again today later on in the stream, so we'll kind of expand on that. Maybe we'll be able to make the playbook live on stream, show you guys how I work on making the playbook, and then eventually after making the playbook, we could maybe even catalog this Google trade for us into that trade write-up. So we'll kind of do that at the end of the stream after we go through our long ass list of stocks. Google, nice little trade to the long side, almost caught a beautiful short too. Affirm. We were talking about Affirm near that 51.50 area, and this stock made me absolutely work for the shorts today. Wow, I had to work for the shorts. Off the open, let it trade, let it do its thing. After it ripped up to the north side, got rejected, and then flushed. After it flushed, you see how it flushed right there? After it flushes, then pops back up, and on pops is where I'm getting short. I'm being so patient. But here's where I kind of screw up the trade for me. I punched the lows, thinking there's way more downside for the stock. At that moment, there isn't. It starts moving back up, so now I'm having to take some profits, get some size out, and having to fight for this position, get in a little bit in the higher areas, get some out, get some in, get some out, constantly recycle my position, and my stop for this whole trade at the end of the day is the high day. right? So I'm recycling, getting in, getting out, and that's why this just looks like an absolute Christmas tree. It's so ugly, getting in, out, taking profits, getting back in, getting profits, getting back in, taking some out for losses, and then taking some out for profits, getting back in, and then I'm going, you know what? I'm done because I am not liking what the stock is looking like. It should not even do this. We should not even be able to come back all the way to VWAP and trade around VWAP again after all of this craziness that happened today. So you know what? I'm just walking away from this, and that happened to be the right decision because look what it did. Popped right back into the high of day, and then eventually creating somewhat of a double top, sells off with the overall market move and whatnot, a monster sell off on a firm later on. So we'll look at this stock for tomorrow. Pretty ugly trading over here. I'm just happy that I was able to keep the stock on the positive side. It was very easily able to go big time red for me multiple times throughout the day. I was just managing the crap out of this trade, getting in, getting out, getting in, getting out, constantly just washing my positions and just praying to God that I don't get burnt on this one. Just sad that I didn't trade it so much better. I should have been trading it much better. Okay. Last but not least, I had a lot of other trades. Wayner's in the chat. You can ask Wayne. He sees my trades every single day. I have like a million trades a day, but I'm only for the sake of time. I'm only talking about my best and my worst trades on the day. So here's Netflix. Netflix 500. That should have been the only level I traded and then should have stopped. Just walked away from it. The mistake I do is I just keep on revenge trading it, trying to catch that long back to the north side on Netflix. Eventually I miss that long and then I stay away from it because I get tilted. So let's talk about this. I take the 500 break. Netflix goes up, only up to 550. Struggles. I see it, but now I have dollar signs glowing in my eyes because I'm up so nice on the day. And Netflix, which is trying to take out the highs at the same time when the market's so strong off the open and looking to go above the all-time highs, I'm thinking we got a big move here on Netflix, and me who's having such a good day off the open, I'm going to have an even better day, probably one of my best momentum days I've had in a while. Let's go Netflix, take out that 500 and ride. Nope, fails. So take some out into 499.50 and then take more out into 498.50. So give it a little bit of extra room. But then right after I get stopped out into this double top over here, which is what I wanted to use as my original stop, right? Getting stopped out before this area gets tested for support felt stupid to me, but I do it anyways. So I get stopped out, it goes down there, and then right after we go down there, it pops up to the north side, and I get FOMO, and I'm like, oh no, you're not leaving without me. I'm punching right back in. I punch back in, it goes up. I'm now a little happy, instantly down. Oh my God, what are you doing, Prad? What's going on? You're tilting. Nope, I'm not missing the move. It's going back up north. I'm getting back in, and then I realized, nope, I'm actually tilting super hard. I pretty much gave back my whole day here, and now I have to fight my way back all the way to flat and try to make some money. And you know what? I'm tilting way too hard. Let's give up on it. And I gave up on it. I think I made the right decision. Later on in the day, Netflix, I was offering to get short near the 500. It was right here, when the stock was not able to print a single share above 500. Right there, you can see how 500 was an absolute wall for a good like 10 minutes, more than 10, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Yeah, on the 1 minute chart, you can see how clean it looks at that area. Just never really gets above 500 in this zone and just struggles, goes down, pulls back to 500, struggles again, and obviously this is where the market crumbles. I was offering near 500. I think I was offering during this time period, not this time period. I was offering during here. Didn't really get that fill, and then boom, came that move to the downside, and I was like, okay, I missed the trade. I'm not going to get it again. Eventually didn't even realize that it moved back up. Struggled at that 500 again and flushed. That would have been a monster short if I caught that on Netflix. Would have made up for my Netflix trade on the day, but oh well. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. We'll just try to see what we can do tomorrow on this position with the help of the markets flushing the way they are right now. Sound is off, bro. Little echo, no biggie. Really? Well, Dieter said that there was a little echo or something, but it was his on his end. Does it sound better now? How about now? How about now? How about now? But yeah, we'll take a look at Netflix to see if there's any other possible trades on this for tomorrow, especially with how the markets are moving at the moment. But first off, we're gonna go with all the earnings plays on the board. So here's a quick little look of all the stocks that are on the watch list for tomorrow for anyone interested, along with a nice little image of the economic calendar tomorrow. So you can obviously sign up for this watch list by doing !Patreon and go click the link in the chat after you do !Patreon. Let's start with the watch list. First off, Micron. MU. Micron. Positive earnings report and a big move to the north side goes this bad boy. Let's put it on the 5-minute chart. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's slap in that. Maybe let's just go to the 1-minute chart. Okay, 1-minute chart. Slap in that bad boy right there. Name this earnings. Okay, now let's go back to the 1-year chart. Actually, go back to the 5-minute chart. See where it moved up to $83. Now let's go back to the 1-year chart. See where that is. $83. Nope, that's right around here. Yeah, right back to the high of this area where we just flushed from. So today was a big flush, and we basically recovered all of that flush and some and walked into this high, right back into this high. So it looks like beautiful buying came right into the stock. Micron moving right into previous level highs. And if we do get a breakout of this area and a hold of this area off of this earnings report, maybe more upside coming in. Micron was expected to lose about $1. They reported 95 cents loss. They were expected to make $4.5 billion and they ended up making $4.72 billion instead on this quarter. So nice little beat on revenue and beat on earnings per share, but not too much of a beat on earning per share. And the guidance is also a pretty important thing. And for that, we usually head over to our trusty friends over at Benzinga. So let's pull in our Benzinga screen. See why this one doesn't lag, but then the watch list one lags for some reason. Let's head on to Benzinga here real quick. Take a look at, whoa, it says Micron actually moved down, but we're seeing Micron moved up after hours. Well, maybe they're talking about, no, it's not down 3.87% since publication. It's actually up. You're lying to me. Okay, let's see. EPS miss, revenue beat. We saw that. Strong guidance, AI opportunity, and more. Looks like Micron, obviously, if it's coming out with a strong guidance, that's pretty damn bullish. Sanjay Metra, or Mehrotra. Okay, that's a fancy way of that last name. I've never seen that last name said that way or written that way before. Mehrotra. It's usually Malhotra or Mehatra, but Mehrotra, I've never heard that before. That's pretty fancy. Anyways, Micron CEO, Indian baby, let's go. Indian CEO taking over all tech businesses basically these days. But overall, nice little beat coming into the revenue. Little bit of a, not EPS wasn't a miss, but you know, EPS I guess in line / miss based on what type of estimates you're looking at or whose estimates you're looking at. And then strong guidance and AI opportunity also being talked about. Obviously AI being now the buzzword, very, very important. Anytime a company, especially a chip company like Micron, AMD, Nvidia use that word. So Micron over here joining the basket along with them, moving right back into a previous resistance. So the levels that we will be interested on, especially to the north side, will be that 83 area. Something that I just noticed though real quick as we zoomed out over here on the 5-minute chart, looks like the stock did pump up recently, breaking this $83 area, going into what, 84 almost, but then died right back and pushed to the south side ever since. So interesting to see what would happen, maybe 84, but I think as long as we get above 83 and hold above 83, that looks pretty bullish to me. As for supports on this stock, let's go back to the 1-year chart real quick. As for supports, not really expecting the stock to go all the way back to today's low / these two double tops. I think somewhere right into these areas right before $81, 80, 81 could come into supports if we do dive to the downside a little bit to test some buying. I think this area gets tested for some buying one more time, and then we start forming a little bit of a range here and then break out, or we just break out and start jailbreaking to the north side and then just big moves to the north side coming in. So for biases, bullish above 81, bullish above 83, notes good ER and strong moves, so expecting maybe continuation past 83. Could look long if stock can get above 83 and hold. So Micron, pretty important of a stock for tomorrow. I am going to most likely have this as my #1 priority stock, so not going to be ignoring it, and I would urge you guys to not ignore it too, especially if we are not holding 80, then there is a chance that the stock goes all the way back down to today's low, especially if the market's looking a little bit weaker and market's not really looking to, you know, take off to the north side. So you got to watch out for those chances also. I, however, think Micron might just hold off into this 80, 81 area. Next up, Blackberries. Let's go take a look at how Blackberry moved into after hours after earnings report. We're expected to miss about 3 cents per share. The reported 1 cent per share loss. Revenue coming in higher. Not sure how. What the hell are you guys selling these days? But happy for my Canadian company, previously called Research in Motion, but now it's just called Blackberry, coming out with a decent earnings report, at least good enough for them. Let's see if it helps them in any way, and looks like the answer is NEPA. For those of you who don't know what NEPA is, it is French for negative. At least I think that's what it is. I don't really speak French, but this move over here for Blackberry to the downside, sadly. Sell Blackberry Neo, no longer client. Yeah, their only last client is no longer their client. Well, I think Arun might still be their client. No, Arun went Google Pixel. Arun went Google Pixel 6 or 7, I forget. But he's in the Pixel gang now. Pixel gang! Everyone hates me on the bus, I'm pretty sure, because whenever I'm sitting on the bus just scrolling Instagram, this is what they see. A big-ass Google logo, Team Pixel, and then TraderPrad just in their face the whole time. I'm just like sitting like this, and they probably just hate me. But hey, Google Pixel team, baby. Proud owner of my Pixel. I think this Pixel was actually bought off of Sean, if I remember correctly. Or I might have sold his Pixel and upgraded my phone. I forget. No, I think this one was actually bought off of Sean. Yes, I think I bought this phone off of Sean. Anyways, let's go see how the stock moved. Obviously, we saw it crumble to the downside over here in the after hours. Very light volume in the after hours, moving down to about $4 or so. Looking really quickly to on the daily chart to see if $4 is any sort of a level. Not really. There's a little bit of a maybe something like that. Maybe something like that. A little bit of a channel that it has been holding. So on the way down, I would expect that channel to hold again. And if we don't hold that channel, then maybe a little bit more room to the downside. Honestly, not really too excited to even make an execution on Blackberry. For some reason, one of these days, we brought in 32 million shares of volume randomly, and the stock barely even moved that day. barely moved that day. Looks like it actually moved one of these days before, and it has been moving a couple days before that big volume day. And that big volume day was just a sell day for whoever loaded up over here. They just liquidated on them, or they just took profits, whatever the hell this event was, because that stock didn't really move too much higher. And now with the earnings report, we're seeing it, dive a little bit to the more to the south side. So maybe it holds the channel, but I'm not really going to stand around and look for the trade on this stock. So BlackBerry might just get deleted from my watch list over here. Doesn't look too exciting for tomorrow. Doesn't make the cut for tomorrow. And trust me, we have a lot of stocks to keep an eye out for, and those will be the ones that are more important. And the ones that don't make the cut, we just delete them, move on from them. Real quick, just going to delete some of my old lines over here. CCL has moved pretty drastically to the north side from the last time I saw this stock. This is actually pretty crazy. I remember the stock being at $6-7, but now we're at $18-20. When the hell did this happen on CCL? Is RCL kind of doing something? What the fudge? Man, wow. These stocks absolutely took off recently. Did not know about any of these. Travel stocks probably also, other travel stocks, maybe American Airlines. Not bad. My lips are bursting, and today I actually have my chapstick on me. Yeah, these travel stocks have been moving pretty well recently, but American Airline has not really been doing that well. They're still struggling around these lows, but CCL with the monster move back into the north side, gotta love that one. And especially with its earnings report coming out tomorrow, let's just make sure that this is CCL, Carnival Corporation, and PCL. Carnival Corporation. I don't see PCL. It's not the same company. No, I'm joking. CCL obviously coming out with the earnings report tomorrow. Pre-market, or is it today? Not tomorrow, pre-market. Yeah, tomorrow pre-market. Will be interesting to see if the stock can use that earnings report to get above this 1955 area and keep on launching up north. If earnings report's negative and they sell off that report, then we got some shorts to get into, some new areas to possibly look to make a trade out of. Real quick on a glance, I see some area right around over here, so looking at that area to come into play. We also have this little double bottom, nice little range that the stock has kind of been trading in. Nice little double bottom. We also got this double top and a little bit of a breakout above that double top, slightly above 18 into 1814 or so. But yeah, looks like we got these ranges to keep an eye out for, especially if it's the earnings reports in the bad. We most likely just flush down over here and then test these areas to trade off of, and then a sell off below 17 could bring more rooms for the shorts. A holding of 17 could bring in some longs on a good earnings report, especially since the stock sold off of how the market traded today. Holding this 18 and moving into 19 will be bullish. Holding 19 going into 1955, and then holding 1955 and going above 1955, all those moves would be extremely bullish and areas for us to look for a long trade. So taking a real quick support again, for me the supports are basically on a bad earnings report, it will be around $17.50 and then $17. So 18 would kind of, 18 is more like the infliction area, because the stock is kind of closed at 18 right now, right? It's basically closed at 18, but based off how the earnings report comes out, we either get a move to the north side off this or a move to the downside. And I think since the stock where it is, we could easily go straight to 17 or easily go straight up to 1955. So as for my notes, I think that's what I'm going to put in. I'm just going to put 17, 1955 on my notes. Infliction kind of 18, basically the midpoint where we basically closed that right now. As for the notes, no real notes right now. I'll wait to see how the stock moves in pre-market, and then I'll base my bias and my notes off of that. And importance for the stock, obviously pretty important. Stock has made a monster move into amazing ranges from past where areas that we haven't been in for almost half a year now, and this gets me excited. Along with CCL, KMX also joining that basket of stocks for tomorrow. This one also a little cluttered for the lines, so let's just get rid of most of our garbage lines over here. Okay. Maybe I didn't want to get rid of 3 of those lines. I like that one. I like that one. I like that one. I don't like that one. Get rid of that one. Okay, so now KMX coming out with their earnings report pre-market along with CCL. Will be interesting to see how the stock moves tomorrow off that report. Really quickly throwing some lines of interest, points of interest, areas that we could kind of see where the stock could possibly, get rejected into or get above and find some buying above into those prices. Right now, real quickly, it looks like there is something around 74.20 or so, but I think we can just wait around $73, 72.50 or so to see what would happen if the stock does sell off on a negative earnings report. And on a positive earnings report, we got some rooms to the north side where we can walk into. This one I'm not really too confident because I can't remember the last time I even traded KMX. Has to be on a random earnings day that I traded it. You can clearly see that I have the earnings VWAP set in from the previous earnings day. So I'm guessing that I might have traded the stock on the earnings day or so, but I don't have any memory of it. So going to be a little careful when it comes to this stock. CCL, however, a lot more confident with CCL, a lot more excited for that one than I am for KMX. The stock also only does 4 million shares compared to what CCL does, like 50 million, especially on earnings days, could bring in 100 million. So CCL will be, trust me, the one you want to focus. And I'm promising you right now, Wayne Wang will be on CCL without a doubt. I will promise you $500 that Wayne will be on CCL tomorrow. Let's see what the chat's talking about. Try shorting Nvidia before the market open tomorrow, and then what? Invite you to my funeral? Sure, if that's what you want. Market is a scam, says Wayne Wanger. Come on, Wayne Wang. Crumbling, ooling, back caving, 8 end dropping, etc. Didn't say the first word, but tippling. Tiplung. But I think you meant to say tupling. Tupling, tiplung. Tiplung, crumbling, oolung, back caving, 8 end dropping. Are you trying to make me rap here, TH? What the hell is going on? Netflix, Nvidia, and especially Meta will drop Thursday. I would like that. Let's see if that would happen. I mean, obviously, we're getting ready for some shorts, maybe free fall Thursday, tumbling Thursdays incoming tomorrow. I'm getting a little excited. Trust me on that one. I'm getting very, very, very excited. Not little. I thought General Mills. Oh, this is General Motors. What is General Mills? GIS. Hold up. Okay, GIS, not GM. That's why I was wondering why the stock wasn't really moving today. Even though I wasn't looking at it, wasn't really looking to trade it. But GIS, okay, so this was their earnings report today, pre-market. Beat on EPS, missed on revenue, a little bit of a miss on revenue. Looks like they actually pushed to the downside off that report. Yeah, big sell-off off that report. Let me just quickly put in that there, call it earnings, and then yeah, sold off, but then eventually found some buying into, looks like what was a previous level around right around here. Got back above that 64.70 a little bit, but then eventually with the market sell off, sold right back. Could see a little bit move into maybe 62.40s over the next few days if the earnings report's weak. But according to me, the earnings report looks a little bit in line. They missed on revenue, they beat on EPS. Not sure what the guidance is, and not really looking at it right now. The trade doesn't really excite me too much. It did sell off. That looks like a what's it called, a hammer candle. So more move to the downside basically being indicated in that opinion. So there could be a little bit more sell off all the way down over here, but you can call all of these hammer candles too. And look what happened at the end of the day to those stocks, right? This one popped up later on. So not sure really how to interpret. At the end of the day, I guess if we get back over 65 and hold above 65, there is a move to the upside. But if we keep rejecting the 65, 64.70 areas, then there's some move to the downside. But GIS, 8 million shares traded on earnings day. and most likely going right back to 5 million, 4 million shares traded later on. So not really looking too excited for this one. I'm going to actually delete this from my watch list. We're going to move on from GIS and go straight to FTX, because this one actually is pretty exciting. This one did something we did not expect it to do. I think maybe we did expect it, but hold up. Let me see if I did or did not. I can't remember. I can't remember if I expected this or not. I'm opening up my notes real quick from yesterday. FTX, can the stock hold 250? If so, could look for some longs into 250 to 260 and then flip short. But in my biases, I wrote bullish above 250 and bearish below. And as you guys can see, the stock didn't really hold 250. It did try to hold above 250 for quite a bit. VWAP was around 250. We were holding above 250 off the open. But then later on, obviously, more selling coming into FTX and we got under. Tomorrow, in my opinion, that 250 is still the area of interest. 250, 249.50, still the area of interest. At which point, any pullbacks we want to be shorting into. But if 250, yeah, look at that. We still want to be looking all the way back into this range low and get ready to short those pops. But the way the candle looks right now, the way the market moved, FDX could just have a straight drop into 240 areas, at which point, you know, we might not even have a chance to short any pops, and we're just looking to just ride the rocket ship to the downside. FTX, obviously a pretty high priority of stock, but also a very pricey of a position, so you might have to be careful when it comes to this one. Supports 240.75. Resistances, I'm just gonna put 250 at the moment, but on my chart I do have that line at 251.50, so I'm just gonna make that a note real quick. 251.50. Line on chart. Infliction will be, honestly, I'm not expecting 250 to come into play. So the infliction, I guess, is like what? Today's close / today's low. Today's low basically 246, 245. I think that's basically your infliction. Your 245 area, 246 / 245. 245 / yesterday's low / close. So we're looking at that area to be infliction. What does that mean when I say infliction? Basically, that is the area you might want to keep an eye out for, and the stock has to make a decision around this area. Are we going to hold this area, or are we going to break through this area and have more weakness surrounding this area? So that area is going to be probably a very important level that you want to watch out for, and for me, that's going to be this 246, 245 zone. So as for notes, if stock can hold above 245, possible longs, but if it cannot, look to get short for a move into 240. Bullish above 246, bearish below 245. I think that's all I want to do. Yeah, bullish and bearish. Where am I bullish and then where am I bearish? As for priority of this stock, though, I think because of I want to give it a blue. I don't think it actually belongs in a orange priority, which is the higher priority basket for me. Mainly because of its price and the lack of liquidity. But wow, look at, actually, I'll take that word back. 30-day volume is 2 million shares. That's the lack of liquidity I'm talking about. But today's volume on the stock was actually drastic, much more than its average earnings volume. This average earnings volume for this stock, as you guys can see right here, I'm putting my marker, it's around 7 million shares. Its average earnings move is also not as drastic as a move as it had today. So today's move was a little bit too much. Last time it did something like that was in September of 2022, and it brought in about 33 million shares, and then right after that it still had a decent amount of volume. So since today's move was on the daily chart considered a 4x volume bump, it actually could give a significant day 2 trade where the stock could either bounce and give you an SSR long out of it, or it could give you a continuation short right to the downside. So you know what, focusing on what I just saw, I'm going to upgrade the stock to a higher priority. Now, going to some of the more weirder stocks on the watch list for tomorrow. We're going to ARGX. Not sure what this stock is. A health technology pharmaceutical company dropping down 25%. Another heavy price stock. Usually volume absolutely atrocious. Garbage volume for a $300 stock. Only trading 400,000 shares. So not really something that would have even been on our radar. But keeping an eye out on our trade idea scans every night these days at least. This is our watch list. You guys recognize that face right there? What a beautiful face. That's the new president of China right there. Hopefully, you know, Xi Jinping never sees this picture and then blocks me from getting into China. But what I was talking about is these trade idea scans. You know, I've been posting them almost every night as long as I remember to post them. And in these scans, I found a couple of stocks that look pretty interesting to me, and we're going to talk about them right now. One of those stocks, ARGX over here, nice little drop to the downside, 25% drop, and also a big increase on relative volume. Traded 5.4 million shares today compared to 400,000 shares. So might give us a little bit of a trade over here, possible extension to the downside, or this move is big, right? A big sell-off event. Maybe some buying coming in, maybe some short sellers taking profit, allowing the stock to bump up a little bit. Beautiful double bottom, now creating a triple bottom possibly. So looking into all of these possible key reasons maybe to look into long over here into $330 basically on ARGX. Remember, very light on volume. The stock is currently plummeting. Whatever its negative news is, you might want to look into that news for the stock and then kind of create your own bias. Not really someone who trades biotech stocks. I'm going to put this one on a absolute no notes, no priority list for me at all. But actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make my notes here real quick, but I'm not going to put it on a high priority list at all because I don't think I'm going to try and even push an execution on this. What was today's low? 331. I'm just going to put 330 first. Oops. 330. 330. 335. Today's VWAP is 340. The stock closed at 340, and today's high is 346. Resistance 340. Infliction 335. Yeah, see, I'm just gonna put random stuff over here and just move on from ARGX. But this one looks pretty interesting for you biotech people. Maybe if you have a clear idea of what you want to do with the stock after I mentioned it to you, maybe you want to make a trade on this one. Maybe put this on your watch list. I will watch it. I'll take a look at it. If it has volume, maybe there's a trade over here. But hey, big drop on ARGX. Let's move on to the next weird stock on our watch list over here. It's a penny stock that actually popped up into $1. 75% move coming in on PRZO. So a penny stock moving up. A recent IPO also looks like. Not too long ago IPO'd. Went absolutely plummeted and then popped up again and then plummeted again and now popping up again. So maybe some fun. Look what it did last time it popped up. Went a little crazy, did it not? So now we're popping up again right into that same high. Let's see if we go crazy again, and that'll be fun to kind of take a look at to see if the stock can get wild for us, get wild for the night. Fuck being polite. Wow, I haven't heard that song in a long time. What song was that? Wild Boy? Yeah, I'm a wild boy. No, that's not. That's a Skrillex song. I'm singing a Skrillex song. Yeah, I'm singing the Skrillex song. Okay, anyways, the last time it made a pop with around the same amount of volume, the next day it brought in more volume and an even bigger move to the north side. So PRZO goes up on a high priority watch list for us, especially if tomorrow it brings in some volume in pre-market, and it's also making a nice bump into the north side into pre-market. Looks like after hours we already got that bump that we were looking for, but no real volume in the after hours. So if for any reason we start opening up into $1.80 or $1.50 and actually hold above these areas, we could look for some longs into $2, $3 or so on PRZO. Maybe some fun on this penny stock over here. Let's quickly go take a look at what the float is on the stock. Rest in peace, ladies and gentlemen, to Float Checker. Rest in peace. What's the float? 3 million float. Short float 4.10%. So 4.1% short float for this one. Not that high, but the float itself is not that high either. So we could possibly see some good fun action moves for my small cap gang. Talking about small cap gang, let's go to the next stock over here that went a little crazy today. POL. A lot of people on Twitter have been posting absolute loss porn on this stock. It's been insane watching people get beat up, and boy, I feel bad for them, you know. Hopefully tomorrow, however, they get to fight on the stock and make that money back. I think the stock could now maybe squeeze a little bit more, however, because a lot of shorts were apparently caught off guard. I mean, the stock did 131 million shares today. Insane moves to the north side, actually kept breaking out. So maybe if there's more breakouts, there could be more longs for us to be involved in, or even if we could get some backside shorts to get involved into this position somewhere around these areas, around 13, around 16, after the stock exhausts a little bit, kind of sets up like this, but then doesn't really have this pop in it where we get absolutely fudged on. So gotta be careful on POL, but I think tomorrow we could possibly look for some longs or some shorts. Not sure what I want to do with this one. I'm just gonna put it on my watch list as a high priority, but as for the notes for this one and what I want to do, I might want to confer with my managers tomorrow, and especially with my other coworker whose name's Dallas. I've talked to you guys about this guy a little bit. He trades these positions, and he kind of has a better idea with what to do with small cap stocks, so I'd rather confer with him about PRZO and POL, but guaranteed going to be having these two stocks on my watch list. 100% going to be watching them tomorrow, possibly off the open, maybe later on in the day. We'll just have to wait and see at what time does it set up for that short, or what time does it set up for that long. You could even have taken this breakout for the long. Maybe it sets up something long like this, a nice little flag breakout long, or it sets up a nice little high a day clear out and then short all the way back to the downside, which is what a lot of small cap stocks usually do. So looking for all types of chart patterns and also all types of scam games on these stocks. Moving on to the next one, Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree did move pretty drastically to the north side, and when the market sold off, didn't really sell off at all, and actually even with the sell-off, it found support into the previous level that we've been waiting for on this stock. So right around, oh really? I thought it was this high yeah, it was this high. Yeah, we found support right off of this high over here. Finally, now after breaking the gap on Dollar Tree, we're looking to continue rise to the north side and use this area as support. So the previous high of what, 131.56. Now coming into show some supports into that zone. Today too, look, we broke out and then we started holding that area support, and then we rode up much higher. So beautiful long right into that area of 134, and now using that 134 as support again. So it wasn't 135, it was 134. Okay, so it was this 134 area. And so now the question is, I mean, today we closed above 134. I guess if we pull back to 134 and still have buying into this range high, there could be an actual gap close over here, a beautiful gap close all the way into $140 on Dollar Tree. So for the first area of support, at least what I want to see build in as supports, will be that 134 area. The next area after 134 will possibly into today's low slash this high over here. What is that again? 131.50/132. I'm just gonna put in today's low around 131.80. So 131.80 as the next area of support after 134. As for resistances, we're just gonna put in 136. After 136, that 140. So those are the few areas that I'm looking out for. Infliction, I'm just looking to see what happens at 134. If we do have a pullback to 134, which is kind of yesterday's high, I would love to see the stock basically hold off at yesterday's high, not go too much lower than that, showing that there is still buying on this position, and we are looking to close that gap up, even with what happened with the overall market move today. So that's the idea over there for Dollar Tree. As for notes, let me just translate what I just said out loud into text. So looking for stock to hold at 134 and not go down If so, can get long for a move to 136 and maybe even 140. But expecting 140 on Dollar Tree, not. It's crazy. It's crazy. You're probably not seeing it in one day. You're not seeing it in one day. Maybe a swing trade. Maybe a swing trade. Bullish above 134. Bullish above 136. There we go. Importance for this stock, however, this one does not go on the higher priority stocks at all. This one's actually our first blue priority stock on the day because we believe that Micron, maybe even FDX will be a higher priority of a trade for us tomorrow. But maybe we're wrong. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, its counterpart, Dollar Tree's counterpart, Dollar General, a stock that we've been actually smoking for the last few days. Every time I've traded Dollar General, I've actually been doing pretty good at it. That one of my friends, Max, if you guys remember Max from the from Trader TV Live, he mentioned, oh, you're actually, damn, you're killing it on Dollar General. You got the stock on point. Yeah, you know, dirt off my shoulders. I'm kind of nice with it. But shout out to Max. Your boy Max is an absolute killer on day trading, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I could do it like him. No one can be Max, though. He's a demon. Coming back to Dollar General, however, not really looking ready to trade just yet for me, where I'm still waiting to see what would happen into this high of 140s. We were there off the earnings move and then sold off. Now we're basically pinching what the setup would be called as the anchored VWAP pinch, right between the news of the CEO changing, if I remember that was the news, and then the earnings anchored VWAP, basically trading between these two areas, one anchored VWAP showing you support and the other anchored VWAP showing you resistance. Once the stock actually breaks out of either one of these anchored VWAPs, that opens up an awesome swing trade opportunity. And if a trade is getting ready to break out on a swing term basis, that could help you set up on a day trade too. So this could, you know, possibly getting above what, 129. If we can get above 129 and actually hold above 129, there could be a beautiful move right through 132 all the way back into 140 for a swing trade, at which point you can decide to close your trade, take some profits, and then maybe leave some runners for that gap close eventually if there is a bigger move there. But keep in mind, once again, the market did go a little crazy today. So Dollar General, I'm just gonna put for notes, watching for possible VWAP pinch setup on the daily chart. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna put on the daily chart. And as for the importance, blue, because if it does break out, then I get to kind of make a decision on the fly over there. Now we get to some of the more interesting stocks that I think which will be the interesting plays for tomorrow, because some of these stocks have made monster moves up recently off their earnings report, even if their earnings reports weren't really the most positive, and have pulled back now into levels that we were interested in from previously. So here's Roku dropping right into the earnings anchored VWAP, straight back into the earnings anchored VWAP, and what looks like a solid level at which we could look for longs if it actually holds up at. Today we did break 89 slightly, but I think that 87 area, 87.30, 87 area is what we're looking to see what happens if Roku pushes down into, and can it find some buying. So $87 support, looking to see if we can find some longs over there. As for resistances, basically today's high slash yesterday's low slash the day before that, so kind of somewhere into $94. That would kind of be the whole range for Roku tomorrow if I was to expect. Not really expecting Roku to go too much below this area, and if we do break out of today's low right into this area, I'm expecting us to pop back up and kind of just trade around today's candle's mid body height. So watch out for that trade setup over there. Possible longs off of this 87, and then not really expecting the stock to go right back into 94. Obviously anything is possible. The stock market is an absolute sham, as Wayner has just complained not too long ago. Infliction, I think 87 is my infliction. Notes, stock diving back to earnings VWAP, earnings VWAP could look for longs if 87 can hold. Bullish above 87. Not really going to be too much bearish unless the market's really unless the market's really crumbling tomorrow. Then besides that, there is no other reason to be too much bearish on these positions, because some of these positions are pulling back into their VWAP points where you could see buying coming in, and these long-term VWAPs over here, they could easily show you some buying. So it's pretty interesting to see what happens on Roku on this pullback, and if there is no buying over here, then we could possibly look for some shorts. But right now, how the stock's pulling back, how we've been trading on the daily chart, I would be pretty confused to see the stock below 87. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. Okay, what the hell? Spelling mistake. I'm trying to correct you. Okay, there you go. Roku importance, blue. Sorry, not blue. Orange. Let's also put an alert right into 80. Is that 88 or 87? You know what? Delete this line. That line's tripping me out. Let's put it right there. 87.50. 87.50. That's the line that we're looking for. The next one is 86.80. So right around 87. So we'll put those two lines that we're looking at to see how the stock would trade into. And then we'll put one at 86. So basically 86 to 86.50, 87.50. Yeah, that makes sense. But we can look to see what happens into that area over here on Roku. Pretty high importance of a stock for me for tomorrow. Now, moving on from Roku, going into the next stock over here, SEC Limited, a game dev company, if I remember correctly. Retail trades, maybe not a game dev, but they sell games? Oh, mobile platform gaming. So how are you a retail trade? Oops. Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that. Oh, okay, TradingView. Can do that too. Department stores. Yo, that's pretty cool. Ollie's, the only one that's up on the day. Okay, not bad. That's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that on TradingView. Shout out to TradingView. But yeah, okay, this is just the e-commerce, digital, whatever, but I'm not sure why they have department stores off SE. Whatever, not going to complain. Not my job to do so. Either way, now look how I was talking about how the earnings anchored VWAP could be a long-term play, right? If you have an earnings anchored VWAP put in, you see how the stock basically anytime pushes above here, rejects, and then gets right back down. That's showing you that there is still a seller, and we're on a slope to the downside too. The seller technically is into $40 and 11 cents or 40.15, 40.20 area, but the slope of that earnings VWAP showing you that there has been a constant seller throughout this whole time. And with the move that the market presented today, taking the stock right back into that beautiful level of $34.87, or basically 35. Now we're watching to see if the stock can get under 35 and hold below for some beautiful short continuation opportunities. Inflection 35. Looking for stock to get below and hold under 35 for some great short trades. So bearish, almost said bullish, bearish under 35. So bearish under 35. Let's get under that, break that 35, 34, 87 area, and just plummet, baby girl. Give me those beautiful short opportunities. If I could actually put SE on a higher priority color, I would, but I can't. So it's just two color schemes that I have at the moment going on. It is blue and orange, blue being the lower priority. Bearish under 37, bullish above 35, but like technically how bullish can I get above 35? Maybe to like 36, $37. Do I even want that? I guess it makes sense because there's good R to R in that move. If you get long with the tight risk to reward into 35, it could make sense for a good long up there. A fake out breakout under 35, get a nice move back up. That could be possible, especially if the market's not crumbling tomorrow. If the market's looking for a reversal back up, then SE long on this fail break 35, mamma mia, that's the trade right there also. Bullish above 35. Okay. So that could be a chance on there. Moving to the next one, Docu. The chat's completely dead. Hopefully people are here. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in chat. If you have any stocks in specific that you would like for me to take a look at, feel free to throw it in chat. And then it is up to my discretion if I want to take a look at that or not. Let's move on to the next one while we wait to see if the chat is dead or if it's still alive. Taking a dead or alive. ADD, man. My mind's all over this place. All right. DocuSign. But before we go to DocuSign, let me hit you with hey, you there. Yeah, you with the Manscaped shirt. Are you tired of decoding the stock market? Are you looking like this guy, always lost after every single day? Well, look no further. Today, we got a brand new offer for you from TraderSync. This software will help you identify exactly where you're losing, where you're winning, and how to maximize your profits. Use code PRAD15 at the checkout. If you start journaling your trades, you will start trading better, and you will start looking like this guy. So what are you waiting for? Go on out there, go get yourself a TraderSync discount, use code PRAD15, and they also have a Black Friday sale going on with 65% off. Don't be late. All right, chat, welcome back. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for all the OGs and all the day ones still here after 1 hour into the stream. We still got a little bit more list of stocks to go through. For anyone wondering how many more stocks we got a couple more stocks over here. So let's kind of speed run through the next few list of stocks because not all of them are going to be too interesting, but we'll see what happens. Docu, looks like Docu is now moving back down after hitting that double top into $64 or $64.50 to be specific. Hitting that 64.50 area and rejecting, now moving back down, possibly finding some support into this 58, 59 areas. So watch out to see what Docu does down there. I'm going to put the what is that, 59? Yeah, 59 as a possible zone to watch out. If 59 can hold, could look for longs. Bullish above 59, bearish below. Importance, I think this one will put it on the blue one. Not too important for tomorrow. There's going to be other stocks, in my opinion, a little bit more important. So I'm just going to throw in an alert right into this $59. See what the stock does if it does drop down in there. And then I'll get alerted when it does go down. And then I can take a look at it. So moving on to the next one, Chewy. Chewy didn't actually look like it pulled back at all with the market sell-off. A little bit of a pullback, but not too much of a pullback at all. So for any reason, if tomorrow is a bullish day, Chewy might be the stock to take a look at because Chewy did not sell off too much. And if market's going back up, Chewy actually might get bought up along with the market and take out from today's high and actually go into one of these other levels that we're looking out for. So 24 is today's high. Look out for what happens around 24 if the market is bullish. And today's low is right around 23. So that happens to be around yesterday's low too. So yesterday's ranges, today's ranges. So we're waiting to see what happens from 23 to 24 on Chewy. Bullish above 24, bullish above 23, bearish, I can't spell above apparently, bearish below 23. And if we do get below 23, then there's a possible chance for the stock to go a little bit lower to the downside. So inflection 23, if stock can hold 23 or get above and hold 24, could get long. If stock is under 23 and holding, get short. Okay. Priority, however, Chewy actually doesn't look too much of a high priority for tomorrow. I think Affirm maybe will be a little bit of a higher priority. And honestly, the way Affirm traded today was a little choppy. It was hurting. It was hurting off the open. Later on, however, our level, the Prastrodamus levels, the $52 area, struggling one more time. The 51.50 to 52 basically struggling. The stock not able to really push too much higher than that price is, eventually giving you a monster short along with the whole market sell-off. So now the question is, what happens on any sort of a pullback right into this 49.50, right into this $50 area? If we do pull back into 49.50 and into $50, in my opinion, we should not get above it. But if we do get above it, then that kind of opens up more long ideas on a firm, in my opinion. So gotta watch out to see what happens over there on a AFRM. Let's make some quick notes over here. Pulling back to the longer term chart, looks like a firm could possibly go down and test some supports into this $40 area. So it's got another $5 room to the downside, maybe $42, $40. It's a little bit choppy. It's almost like a what's that thing called? A diagonal channel, diagonal support being formed. Horizontal supports, in my opinion, always more important than diagonal ones. But diagonal showing you that buyers are stepping up each time and they are ready to go long at higher prices, which is very bullish. But now the question is, does that happen, especially after today's sell-off and especially after the stock rejecting a previous resistance area? So do we expect that area to hold again? That's my question. Let's keep on watching what happens until, I guess, $41 or so. Don't think we see $41 tomorrow, honestly. And if we do see $41, at which point that might just be only like looking for longs over there in that bottoms. I'll be a little careful in the lower end of these ranges. I would like for the stock to actually pop up and give me the short opportunities into like 47.50, into 49.50, not really get above 50 at all. So if the stock can pop up to the north side, give me those short fills up here in these beautiful beauty zones of like what, $49 or so, I would love that chance. So right here, $49. Today's VWAP is right around 49.35. So if we can get up to 49.35, 49.50, I would love for that short opportunity right around here into these range lows. So let's see what happens. I'm going to put in resistance 49.50. I don't want to see 50 coming into play. And if 50 comes into play, I'm kind of staying away from the shorts. As for supports, I'm going to wait and see what happens around $41 to the downside. Infliction will be 49.50/50. Don't want to see the stock above 50. If it is above 50, no shorts. Bearish under 50. And that's the only thing I'm going to put in, because that's what I believe is what I will be wanting to do on this trade tomorrow. Obviously depends on how the market's moving, so you got to be careful. Creating a pre-bias, such a big bias before the market even shows its hands tomorrow off the open. So got to be careful for thinking that way. Okay, guys, be very, very careful. Moving on to the next basket of stocks over here. These three stocks come from the cryptocurrency basket. That's right, you guessed it. It is Coinbase, Mara, and Riot, all of which have broken out to the north side pretty drastically, man. Monster moves on all three of those stocks, mainly because we're getting that breakout on BTC itself. So shout out to Bitcoin, back to 44,000 over here, at least 43,500 at the moment. But giving those moves on Bitcoin gives you that moves on Coinbase, on Mara, on Riot. However, the market selling off sadly took these stocks back to the downside. So looking for some supports to build in right into that $16 on Riot. On Mara, on Riot looks like 18 is the area for resistance that we're looking at. For support, I'm not sure if Mara pulls all the way back to 20, but if it does, that's easy long in my opinion. But quickly going back to Riot, what is this area? 18, 1780 to 18, 1780. Today's high is basically 18, so we'll just put fucking 18 in there. Fuck it. Mara looks like it's a little bit overextended. It has a little bit more pullback in it possible, in my opinion at least. So I'm not really too excited to look long on Mara unless we pull all the way back to $20. So I'm gonna be waiting a little patiently around $20 on Mara. As for resistances, I mean, the stock has been going a little parabolic, honestly. Look at the daily chart, it's absolutely parabolic. So not expecting too much high side. If it does go anywhere higher than, let's say, yesterday's high, which is 2250, then maybe today's high is in view, but I cannot see that happening. I cannot. However, Riot's my more important basket of stock in the cryptocurrency, so that's the one that we're going to prepare for. If Riot can go to 16 and find some buying at 16, that's going to be a good long. If stock can find buying into 16, get long. Bullish above 16. Bullish above 16. Now, going away from the cryptocurrency basket, we're going to go into the clothing basket of stocks. A&F giving you a little bit of a sell-off, but still no big volume on this stock. I mean, I don't know why I do this myself every day now, where I just look at this position, kind of see where it is, like kind of like stalking my ex-girlfriend a little bit. Not that I do it. Not that I do it. I'm just saying, you know, there are people who out there who do it, right? But it's kind of feels like, you know, stalking your ex-girl a little bit. A&F, just looking at it every day, you know, how are you moving? How are you doing kind of feeling over here on A&F? Because I'm not really making a trade on this stock. There is no volume throughout the day, at least off the open, to make a solid trade with the solid volume on this position. But hey, at the end of the day, still 1.5 million shares. It did sell off that 92 area on the stock, looks like. And if you are looking to trade it, any pops into 92 could possibly look to get sold off one more time, and then we can ride it to the south side. Looks like 91.50, which is yesterday's high, could not hold up, and that gives us a little bit of a confidence booster to short this 92 area if it does pop into that stock again. As for supports, you can expect yesterday's low / any of these ranges to come back into play somewhere into $86. So I'm just going to put $86 as for supports to possibly look for some longs to get into on this position. Infliction 92 or 86. If stock can reject 92, could get short. And if stock can hold 86, can get long. Bullish above 86 and bearish below 92. Okay, now to a stock with a little bit of a higher priority of list, because obviously A&F stays in that white basket list of stocks for us, very, very low volume. Let's go to Square. Square tried to break out of one of these beautiful ranges. We tried to go above 78 today, but we walked into a wall into 79. The market struggled to keep on going to the high side, and blew up everything, right? Everything blew up thanks to Xi over there saying that he's going to take over Taiwan, basically blowing up the whole market along with the statements, taking down a lot of these stocks with it. I think Square, even though it sold off today, not really too much of a bearish move in my opinion. I mean, that is a big sell-off, let's be real, but I think we could see buying very quickly on Square if the market was looking to be green tomorrow. So you want to be careful. However, if Square does get under, I believe, this area right here, 74, 73.50, nah. I mean, look at the moving averages. They're just screaming to the north side. It's not screaming bearish at all. It's going to be pretty hard to short Square. Trust me. It's going to be pretty hard to short Square in my opinion. And even if you do short it, you're not going to get too much out of it. I don't think there's a short here at all. So there must be a long then, right? Nope. I think Square does honestly nothing. I think Square does nothing. There's volume's going to probably die out on this one. Might not be a highly important of a stock for tomorrow. So I'm just going to leave this one blank. If it moves in pre-market, I'll update it in pre-market for myself. Let's go to the next one. NIO. This one negating the whole long thesis. Completely negating the whole long thesis. Not holding 850 and now actually getting back under 8. So, you know, are we even bullish anymore on this stock? Yeah, we're diving right back into the earnings anchored VWAP. So if the stock can hold above 790, above 8, maybe there's some longs to get into and some relief rally comes in, especially if the market's looking to go back up tomorrow. So looking for supports into 790/8 to come into play. As for inflection, that is my notes, 790/$8. And for resistance, we got that 850 resistance to the north side that the stock has to once again go test. So if stock can hold above 8, I can't spell, could look for a move into 850, but the stock has been so weak even with good catalyst, hard to look long. No biases really. Importance, I think this one we're gonna put it on the blue just because this move is so weird, so choppy, so ugly that it doesn't really excite me anyway. So moving to the next stock, PFE, garbage stock, horrible company. But PFE giving you a beautiful trade right off of this 2830 area and a nice little rejection of 2830, pushing it right back to the south side. So for once again, if we do move back into 2830, possible rejections, and yesterday's low could come back into test around, what's that level again? 2730. Yeah, basically $1 from 2730 to 2830, waiting to see what the stock wants to do between those two ranges. The next one is Palantir, but like I said, Palantir, now we're back at 17. I remember someone in the chat, I don't know if it was Dieter or somebody else, they were talking about how Palantir looks good for a long. I actually closed my whole Palantir long-term position right around here, I think yesterday, or maybe here yesterday. So I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm out at this point. So yeah, Palantir still struggling back into 17. If 17 holds, awesome. But if 17 doesn't hold, ugly, more downside. So watch out for Palantir over there. Going to Rivian next. Rivian, we had an alert right into this range high. That range high never really came into play, and we basically rejected yesterday's high into 2450. So me expecting to see 25 never really came into play, sadly. 2450 ended up being that wall on Rivian. Now we took out yesterday's low and we are pushing much more to the downside. So Rivian actually opening up some room over here downside. If we do, however, pop back into 2450, possible short chances into that area. As for supports, maybe 2250, and then under 2250 looks like somewhere at $22. So watch out for that move all the way back down. $22 looks very much possible. So maybe I'll just put 22 in my notes instead of saying 2250, because 2250 was one of these days low, recent days low, but not that important in my book. So as for my notes, $22. Not sure if that's the inflection, however. I think inflection will be this 23/2250 area. So let's put 2250 as my inflection. If the stock can, I don't know what I want to do with this 2350 area. For some reason, I feel like it could hold up, but I also feel like it doesn't hold up. I'm a little confused with what I want to do. Maybe I just watch. I just watch to see what happens at that area. However, I want to do trade around 22, so bullish above 22. And bearish below 2450. I also can't spell bullish apparently. Great. Rivian, put this one on the blue color. This one needs some levels to get into for me to get ready. Uber, this one is finally moving again. Uber finally breaking below that 6150 area and now moving into this day's low, which is what, 6060? So 6060, exactly today's low, coming into play perfectly. I mean, wow, what a move. Overall, 6150. I tried to short 6150 today. I got burnt a little bit. I think Uber was one of my losers on the day today. But yeah, monster short opportunity if you were looking at the right time, and Uber moving right back into a previous support. So now, if we do pop into 6150, we should expect that as a resistance. Our previous support, or now the new support is 6060 instead of 6150, because that was the previous support. Inflection will possibly be 6050 or 6150. Notes, if stock can pop and reject 6150, could get short. If stock cannot hold 60/50s, could get short. Whoa, where am I putting my notes here? Oh, that's what happened. Okay, got you. Bang. So as for my bullish and bearish notes, bullish, I'm not typing anywhere. Awesome. Bullish above 60/50. Bearish below. Bullish above 61/50. Bearish below. So basically no bias until the stock goes to my prices, at which point then I will be making a decision. Importance for tomorrow, Uber, orange. We finally found an orange priority stock after a list of white and blue stocks. Let's go. Baba selling off. Let's go see what Baba looks like. Not too excited. It is going into a nice little support. If we do break below that support, possibly going into 52-week lows, but I've seen Baba been a garbage trade intraday for me all the time, so I'm not really too excited for Baba. I'm gonna move to the next one over here. Carvana, nice little fake breakout almost coming in off this double top, which was almost a triple top. Fake breakout, now pushing back to the downside on Carvana. So any pops back into these areas into 57, maybe we see some rejections and then a push back down. Let's actually see how the stock traded into that area on the move down. Looks like it broke that area, came back, tested, found rejections into that area again, and then sold off more. So obviously pretty important of a level right here for tomorrow to see what happens around this 58, 57, 58 area. Yeah, 57, 58 area. Possibly rejects tomorrow on any pops and gives us some shorts to the downside on Carvana. So watch out for that one. Let's go to next up. AI rejecting that area beautifully, rejecting that 32, 33 area, and now moving back down. Possible longs could build into these areas for AI. We're also moving right back into the earnings anchored VWAP, so look out for supports being built into 28, into 27 areas, and then possibly allowing us to catch a ride, hitch a ride to the north side. Next up, Roblox. Ooh, Roblox still stuck in a beautiful box. Looks like a long to me still, ladies and gentlemen. A stock that's actually not back to its earnings VWAP, still in the higher end of the ranges and holding off pretty well. Looks like if Roblox could continue showing us some buying above $43.50 or even $43, that looks pretty bullish to me. So Roblox support 43. Resistance looks like right around 45. Infliction will be 43/45, either one of those areas, whatever number comes first. If stock can continue to hold 43, could get long for a move to 45 or higher. Bullish above 43 and 45. Roblox, important color. Because the volume is dying down and the stock's kind of consolidating in these areas, I don't think it gets promoted to orange. I think this one goes to blue. UPST. Ooh, UPST looking very much like Roblox over here. Volume not actually dying down. Still pretty decent volume compared to the past. And we're actually holding up into that zone, into that $44, even though today's low basically $43.30. But let's just say $43 to $44 holding up right now on UPST. So let's just say 43, blah, 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 blah. Let's see what that number is. 43.20. 43.25. So that's our level on UPSC to the downside, and as long as we're holding above that, I'm ready to get long on this bad boy. So infliction 43.25/43, bullish above 43.25/43. Notes: if stock can hold 43 area, could get long, especially if market is looking to be long also. And as for resistances, we're gonna leave the resistance part empty. Importance, I think this one will be on the higher importance tomorrow, especially if the stock is not able to hold this 43 area. We got some downside moves too, some good downside moves on UPST. Next up, Unity. Ooh, Unity, a little bit of a sell-off. Not really too exciting. Not sure what I want to do with this one. I think I want to let the stock move around a little bit more. Yeah, I'm not sure what I want to do with Unity. Let's go to Shopify. Oh boy, what? Shopify came right to my marker and didn't trigger? No, it did not go to my marker. It just never pulled up to my marker. But looks like it's actually pulling back into support areas. So let's see if Shopify can find some buying into 75, into 74.50s. Looks like that's the area for Shopify to currently find some buying. And if that area fails, there could be some big moves under that, right back into $71 or so. So Shopify, first support 74.50/75, second support 71, resistance still around 78, 80. Ooh, what am I typing? Around 80. Infliction will be 74.50 if stock can get under and hold. Cannot hold 74.50 and stays under, could get short for a move to 71. And this one I think will be a good trade for tomorrow. However, volume's dying down, sadly. Blue. Bearish under 74.50. Bearish under 74.50. Color blue. All right. Almost coming to an end over here, ladies and gentlemen. Last few stocks before we talk about the large cap basket of positions over here. First one over here. Next up, going to Path. UiPath. Come on, Path. You can be a little bit more exciting than that. I guess not. Okay, I guess not. DKNG. You can be a little bit more exciting. Oh, you are. Look at that. That level's coming right back into play. 34.50 coming right back into play. Awesome. Today's low 34.15, basically around 34. And if that area fails, we got to move right down to 33, $32 over here on DKNG. So support should be right around 34. Resistances should be right around, what was today's VWAP? Today's VWAP 35. Good. I was going to say 35. And then we got yesterday's low, which was right around 35. This day's low, which was right around 35. This day's low, which was right around 35. So perfect. I was going to say 35 anyways. So resistance 35, support 34, infliction 34. If stock can get under 34 and hold, could get short. Bearish below 34 and bullish above, but only to 35. And then see how it trades at 35. Okay, good little note over there for DKNG. This one, because of how it traded today and how it went into this one of the more important levels on the daily chart, I think we'll have some fun with DKNG tomorrow. However, volume tying down on this one also. Now, the last few stocks on our watch list, ladies and gentlemen, we're making it. Woo! Apple, Amazon, basically the large cap basket, along with QQQ and IWM. So let's take a look at these few stocks over here. As you guys know, I usually just quickly show you guys QQQ, S&P 500, and IWM, and that's because all of you have your own levels, and it also saves some time. It's large cap, basically all up in the same zones. They all have all in the all-time high areas along with QQQ. So if you can understand the QQQ trade, you can basically understand trades on Shopify, on Apple, on Microsoft, on Meta, on Tesla, on Netflix, on Nvidia, and so on. What does QQQ look like? We got a nice little pullback on the QQQ, all-time high breakout, but then rejecting that all-time high and pushing right back to the downside. Not only pushing to the downside somewhat, but actually pushing enough to get under the FOMC anchored VWAP. So that right there is the FOMC anchored VWAP. This is the CPI one. That's the 30-year bond move. I don't think these ones are are useful anymore. That's the year to date. That's the month to date. The blue, purple, yellow one is the month to date. This one's the CPI one. Kind of could remove CPI one also at this point, but this is the latest FOMC anchored VWAP, and now we're actually under it. So looking to see what happens if any pops into some of these resistance areas. Are we selling off into resistances, or are we finding buying into these derivative supports, especially like the 9-period SMA? As you guys can see, pretty choppy with the 9-period SMA on the consolidation part, but when the market breaks out, or any stock breaks out, they usually hold the 9-period SMA. And when you see a 9-period SMA on just an incline up or an incline down, and the stock just constantly trading under that level, or the stock constantly trading above that level, that is almost programmed, mechanized buying, or so much buying coming in at such a constant interval that the stock is just constantly going up like that. And when you put that information from that move into a calculator and use actual math behind it, that the formula is showing you a straight line up. Usually those straight lines almost impossible for traders to make it happen. These are programs, these are algorithms, these are buying kicking in from actual institutional hedge funds and so on, right? So understanding those type of situations over here will help us understand what happens next. QQQ, big incline. We're getting a little bit of a pullback. Fine. That's fine. Pullbacks are fine. Look at that pullback and then bounce right back up. So the question is, what happens into the 9-period SMA on the daily chart on the QQQs? Right around 402.02. We were almost there today. So going into that area, do we find some buying? Do we find rejection instead? If you find rejection, are we going to push a little bit more down? If we are going to push a little bit more down, where is the next buying point possible coming into? In my opinion, that one's a little bit under 400 at 394. If this market goes all the way down to 394 tomorrow, that's about a 2% loss. A market hasn't had a 2% loss in a long time, and I don't think we're going to have it now, especially with the interest rates being talked about, possible rate cuts coming in the new year. I think 3 rate cuts in 2024. So expecting a 2% down move on the market would be ridiculous, especially with how the market has been setting up in the last few days. On that note, maybe we see a 0.9, 0.5 move, and if that's the case, 400 should hold up on the QQQs, right? 400 should technically hold up and not go too much lower. Even this 9-period SMA, 402 should hold up and not go too much lower. That would be a pretty bullish indication, and that would completely negate today's down move on the market and, just kickstart a nice reversal back up. S&P 500 also at the same 9-period SMA, sorry. And IWM Russell, which has been a little bit choppy around this 199 to 200. We did get back above 200 today, but right back under 199. And looks like now the new support on IWM Russell coming in right around this 196.48 area. So let me just put that in my notes real quick. 196.48 area on the Russell. What's this other low? 196 on the Russell, and then the resistance is basically 199 to 200. Above 200 you obviously have the 202.14 and so on. If Russell can hold off in this area, that's pretty damn bullish still, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty freaking bullish still, and we could see small caps still looking to start making a rise up to the north side. So I'm not really screaming the trending X that's going on, the hashtag stock market crash. Market's still looking good in my opinion. So we were setting up a lot for the bearish moves today, but thankfully in our notes we put in a lot of other side of the trades too. Bullish above here, bearish above this, bullish above this, bearish below that. So making sure that we're always ready for both sides of the trades, both sides of the coins will help us stay in the game and actually look for the right opportunity. So whatever side the market moves tomorrow, I feel like I have the right amount of trades and exactly the right stocks to also take a look for tomorrow based on whatever sides the market moves. Did you catch Paul, one of the biggest runners since VVOS? I actually don't trade small caps, but I did watch it. It was pretty crazy. It was monstrous. We do have it on the watch list for tomorrow. We talked about it a little bit, but I'm not sure what I want to do with it. I'm going to wait for tomorrow, go into work, confer with my coworkers who actually trade small caps, see what they are doing with it, and then I'll possibly set up for it. I however, think there is a move into 13 or even 1650, and then we could possibly look for some shorts around these moves for POL. But like I said, I'm not really too experienced with small caps. I'm not going to go out there preparing you guys and preparing my guys for a trade on these. Preparing you guys and preparing myself. Why did I say my guys? Myself for a trade on these stocks, because I don't know what I'm doing. Now, moving away from this one, we talked about the large cap ETFs real quick, which is QQQ, the S&P 500, even the IWM Russell 2000. We talked about most of the stocks that we wanted to be interested in, and now the next thing that I want to show you guys is the economic calendar for tomorrow. The economic calendar for tomorrow, a little active once again. We got bunch of things coming out, especially at 8:30, which is good. I don't like it when things come out during market hours, so it is actually good that a lot of these things are coming out at 8:30. So this could help make or break our thesis of the market not really going too much down tomorrow. Tomorrow at 8:30, we got continuing jobless claims. We got the GDP numbers coming out, initial jobless claims coming out, Philadelphia Fed manufacturing. Not really sure how much important this Philly numbers are, but it is a 3-star importance according to economic calendar from investing.com. So that could move the market a little bit, but overall, we're waiting to see how these numbers move the market, which is initial jobless claims, the GDP number. These are the numbers that the FOMC committee takes a look at to kind of understand where inflation's going and how they are fighting the so-called battle against inflation, and to see if rate cuts are needed and whatnot, or do they need to pivot on that statement. So tomorrow, 8:30, thankfully, that's when those numbers are coming out. For my natural gas traders, my UGas, DGas, is that even a stock anymore? It's in the OTC? Holy shit. UGas F. DGas on FINRA. What? What the hell is this? But I guess, yeah, UGas is now on the OTC. That's crazy. But for my natural gas warriors, you can probably take a look at that one over there at 10 o'clock. That one comes out. And then the 5-year auction tips at 1 o'clock. That looks like a 2-star event apparently. So we'll see if that one moves the market also. We did see a random event from the market today move the market randomly at 240. China's Xi coming out and talking about how he is going to unify. Let me show you the screen here real quick. Where is that? There we go. NBC reported earlier, Xi warned Biden during summit that Beijing will reunify Taiwan with China. So obviously a little bit of a scare tactic, I guess, a little bit of a warning maybe, whatever it is. Desk pop, and that desk pop caused quite a bit of collateral damage on the markets by bringing it down. At least the timing of that was uncanny. It said 2:49:17 p.m. and if we were to go to 2:49:17 p.m. today on the markets, I mean, like, like that kind of started the move over there. Let's show where the volume comes in. That's 253, right around the news article dropping. But we said 2:49:17 seconds after 2:49. That's a little bit already past the move, but the move started right. Yeah, wait, 2:29, 2:30 is kind of where the move basically started. But yeah, I don't know if this was that catalyst or not that catalyst. We just don't know. I don't know what I don't know. But one thing I do know, ladies and gentlemen, is we are pretty much done talking about the watch list for the day. We are prepared all that we can be, and for some of the stocks that we are not prepared for, like the earning stocks like KMX or POL or PRZO, I'll be looking at those ones in pre-market and then updating my watch list for those in the pre-market tomorrow. But so far we have a pretty good extensive watch list, and I believe I am pretty confident for those trades. I'm excited. Hopefully you are too. The next segment on this stream is actually us reacting to another RSI video. But before I do this, my stomach is rumbling and I am hungry. So I'm gonna go get some food, and I'm gonna go eat such food while watching this educational video. So hopefully you're still here. When I'm back, we're gonna watch that beautiful video. I'm back, chat. I'm back, baby. Brad, you didn't play the video? Of course I didn't. I have to fucking watch it. I have to be here. Come on. Music stop. Come here. Get out of here. put that up on there. Reduce this volume. Increase this screen. And okay, good to go. Okay, what am I eating for dinner? For anyone wondering, I'm eating Mom's dal chawal that I was actually supposed to eat for lunch, but I didn't because I wanted to eat something else for lunch, so I ate that for lunch, and I just brought this home, and now I'm eating it for dinner. Nice little dal chawal. For anyone who knows what dal chawal is, it's basically lentils. I guess like lentil soup. It's lentil soup, and then you just mix it with rice. I got some all dressed chippies. I don't know if you guys are getting the ASMR out of this. Hold up, let me give you some ASMR. This is now an ASMR stream, guys. This is now an ASMR stream. Welcome. Let me put that thing back and let me put this mic away from my face. All right. What is going on the stream now? For those of you who are just tuning in, if you're wondering what we're doing, we're going to be reacting to a video about RSI indicators. We saw a video yesterday about RSI indicators. We were reacting to that. That video is posted on our stream if you haven't watched it already, on our YouTube channel. Sorry, if you haven't watched that already, go watch it. But this is actually part one of that video, and this video is the more in-depth video. It talks about how to actually use the RSI indicator, whereas the one we saw yesterday was a trade example. The trade example was good. It was really effective for me and really quick way to understand of what they were teaching, because I am a little bit more higher advanced level than most people who are kind of just getting into trading. But if you are getting into trading and you kind of want to understand what that video from yesterday was kind of talking about, this one goes more in depth about it. So we're going to learn together, understand about it, talk about it, watch it, and obviously the channel, once again, the Bible, the one and only S&B Capital, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch it.
RSI, Relative Strength Index, is one of the most popular indicators, but if you're simply using it to spot overbought conditions to get short and oversold conditions to buy, you're doing it all wrong. In this video, we share the top 3 ways the pros use RSI, and they're likely not what you think. I'm Mike Bellafiore, and we're one of the top proprietary trading firms located in New York City and proud to develop number 7 and even 8-figure per year traders. Watch, take notes, and learn so you can use this powerful indicator like the pros do.
RSI is one of the top indicators discussed on the desk, probably one of the top 5. You know, traders use it. It's on every platform. There are a lot of books just about that. You know, it's been commonly used for years.
But it's so commonly misunderstood. So today, Jeff and I want to
This
talk
guy looks
about
very
what
excited.
this thing actually measures.
I like Jared.
And how we can use it to make good trades. The RSI indicator measures strength. After all, it's called the Relative Strength Index. And this indicator is a momentum oscillator. It measures the speed and change of price over a set number of bars, and it oscillates between 0 and 100. Many people use it to spot overbought or oversold conditions, and I think this is probably the most common use of the RSI. And this is where most traders go wrong right off the bat. And we'll talk about this because it can be used in this way, but we have to be careful to use it correctly. And we'll outline a couple intraday overextension setups using the RSI in this way. And there are also other less common, but just as powerful ways to use it. We'll cover those too, including my favorite way to use the RSI, which is probably not what you think.
RSI can be used for any type of trading, right? You could use it for intraday scalps. You could use it for swing trading. You could use it for trend trading, intraday trend trading, and both higher time frame daily trend trading if you wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All time frames. So let's quickly review how the RSI measures momentum. Okay, so we've got a chart. It's a daily chart of the SPY right here with the RSI on the bottom that you can see. This is the indicator with default settings.
But right now they're introducing what an RSI is for some of you who don't know already.
An average loss over
We
a
can
given
kind of skip
number
through
of
this
bars.
already.
And it then computes the ratio of these gains to losses and normalizes this ratio on a scale between 0 and 100. And you can see that scale and the oscillation on the chart. The default period is 14 bars.
Okay.
And most traders use 70 and 30 on either end to mark overbought or oversold conditions. And you
I
can
like
see that right
80-20.
in the chart as well. Most traders use this indicator for mean reversion strategies, those overbought, oversold signals.
Yep.
And this leads us to our first example. In using the RSI in this way, this is where traders go wrong. And the thing to really key in on is just because the RSI is overbought or oversold does not mean that the market needs to reverse.
But you'll hear this a lot. People will say that exact same phrase. Just because it's overbought or oversold doesn't mean it can't get more overbought or more oversold. That's very nice statement to say, but that gives us no value whatsoever. So help us understand a little bit more about what you're talking about specifically.
Yeah, so we can gain value
Damn.
from those signals, but
Bro,
they're not
laying
gonna
down the
work by
hammer.
themselves, okay.
Bro, laying down
This
the
right here is
Thor's
an hourly
hammer.
chart of the Qs, and you can immediately see that stocks can remain overbought or oversold for a long period of time, and we can't blindly fade these signals. So, there's 5 signals on this chart. It worked 1 out of 5 times, so that it did catch that low there. But I mean, I'm not trying to trade something where I have to lose, 4 times to get a winner. Obviously you get completely run over in the recent move that the market made, and this is a current chart. So we've been going higher for a few weeks.
Now I'm going to leave the video running
you do
because
not
this is
wanna be
actually a
shorting
part that I don't need to pay too much attention to. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab some water.
What adjustments can we make then to make it a little easier for us?
Yeah, so there are a few technical things we can do. So we like to use 80 and 20 instead of 70 and 30. Simple thing. It just makes it a little bit more special when you get those signals. You're going to get less of them and they're going to be more meaningful. So here's an hourly chart on the Qs. Same chart, changing it to 80-20, and you can see we got 2 overbought signals and no other signals. And of course, those overbought signals, again...
Hey, did they change it to 80-20 while I was gone?
But we did remove a lot of the signals, including, of course, the only one that worked. But that's okay, because I want to be very selective here, right? We're still going to get run over a few times, so this doesn't complete the picture, but we're getting closer to making this indicator more meaningful. And by the way, there are 2 really great RSI setups on this chart right now that we will go over at the end of the video, but that's in another section. So how do we avoid these false signals? And this
That's
is really
a good point. How do we avoid it?
RSI actually become a tool that's functional?
Bottle
versus
just
a
squirted
guide
on me,
that
dude.
tells us something.
Hell?
Yeah, so what I like to do, and again, we're talking about mean reversion right now. We're talking about overbought, oversold signals. It's got to be overdone on multiple time frames.
Right.
Like, to me, that's the golden ticket to using this indicator, because if it's just one time frame, it can easily do what we're seeing right here.
Mm-hmm.
The odds really start to stack in our favor if we're checking multiple time frames and if we get this signal on the higher time frame. So if you're trading on a 15-minute chart and you check the hourly, if you're getting the same signal, that's going to really stack the odds in your favor.
Okay.
So if I'm trading on a 1 minute, maybe I'll look at the 5 minute as well. If I'm trading on a 5 minute, maybe I'll look at the 15 minute as confirmation. If I'm on a 15 minute, maybe I'll look at an hourly. If I'm on an hourly, maybe I'll look at a daily. If I'm on a daily, maybe I'll look at a weekly. Are those kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, 100%. So we were just on the hourly chart, and let's flip to a daily chart. And this is the same chart, and now we see no overbought signals, right? So if we're trading that hourly and we get those overbought signals that we're getting run over,
The way that guy talks reminds me of Greg, dude. That's crazy.
So that just negates
Not the guy talking, but
If
the
we're
other
just
guy
gonna be
asking the
really
questions.
systematic.
He's the head of the coaching.
So we don't want to take.
He's
the
head of
signal from the
coaching,
hourly
and
chart. So
he is
we've removed
also
false
coming out with
signals.
the
And
new
look,
podcast
any
soon with
indicator
the
is gonna
Humble
give false
Trader.
signals
I'm excited for
sometimes.
that one with
we
Mike
just want to create a
Bellafiore and
process
the other
where
guy
the
in this
odds are in
video.
our favor if we're using this, and obviously we're combining it with other things, but it's a tool. And again, it's a tool to help us visualize. It's a tool to give us rules, and it's a tool, if we actually want to build an algorithm, we can use to define these things. Like,
And there's a big thing on our desk of if you put something on your chart, you have to understand what it is. You have to understand how it's calculated if it's an indicator. And then most importantly, you have to understand the ways in which it can be a benefit to your trading.
Right.
So even looking at one higher time frame to get a perspective can benefit your trading immediately.
yeah, absolutely. So now that we've created a process to raise the quality of these signals, how can we use this to spot some great trades? So let's dive into some examples and let's look at an intraday trade. This is CDIO not too long ago.
Okay.
Overbought on multiple time frames. That's what this setup is, right? So we're going to give you an example of how this looks. Okay, so we're trading a runner. It makes a parabolic move off the open. We can see that in the chart. This looks like a short opportunity for a playback to VWAP, right? That's a real play the traders on our desk make.
Play back to
So
VWAP.
just looking at the candles, I mean, this is getting parabolic. So we're going to want to consider this, right? If this is in our playbook, right? So how can we start to quantify this using the RSI? So we want to look at the next higher time frame, right? So Jeff was just talking about, if you're trading off of the 1 minute, go to the 5 minute. So we do that here, and we're not getting that signal on the 5 minute. So again, if we're going to be systematic about it, wait, it's not confirming yet. We don't look for a short yet. Okay, so we keep watching the 1 minute. It pulls back, holds. Actually, a great momentum long setup there, and it starts to get overbought again.
We'll cover that. We'll cover the momentum long a little bit later. But this is exactly what you were talking about. I saw the potential of the short on the 1 minute, but then when you check the 5 minute, it's not there. It doesn't give you that confirmation.
Right.
And so you just wait. Okay.
Yep. So now we're getting it again on the 1 minute. So go back to the 5 minute, check the 5 minute. Now we're getting the signal on the 5 minute.
Okay.
So now the odds are nothing works 100% in trading, but now the odds are much more in our favor than they were before, and that's what it's all
And may
about.
the odds
So
forever be in your favor.
the higher
Shout out
time
to
frame,
Hunger
and
Games.
now
Shout
it's
out to
confirmed.
Katniss
So
Everdeen.
let's just go one step further and check the 15-minute chart. Just might as well.
Might as well.
Lo and behold, we have a signal there too. So this is actually looking pretty
The
good.
trifecta.
But what do we do to trade this?
A
All right,
Right?
trifecta.
So we would have to go back and that's great, but do we just short it because it's there, or is there another indicator or some price action we could layer on?
Yeah, so if you've watched any of Lance's videos, he talks all the time about the right side of the V. That's the term he uses, the right side of the V. And in any kind of overextension play, like this is exactly the approach we want to take. And like if you haven't seen these videos, like go back and watch Lance's videos.
Yep.
They're really great.
Lance, the one.
We want to wait for the turn.
Lance.
Like that's the whole point. So just
That's his
because
Twitter
it's
for
overbought,
anyone
again,
wondering.
even on multiple time frames, we need a signal. We need some way of identifying that this thing's turning, right? And we're gonna do things like watch the tape and watch the chart for this. So how can we quantify this for these specific setups? And
This is one of my favorite, and this is actually a double bar break. When you're doing a 1 minute chart, you can look more for
The
a
double bar break, yeah.
and a single bar break. But you can take for most charts, you'll be looking for a close below the prior bar low. So, when you're trading the 1 minute, you a lot of times will be looking for a double bar break. And that tends to confirm the right side of the V a little bit more. So
I like that.
if you have that combination
I like
of
that.
overbought above 80 on the RSI in this case on multiple time frames, one lower and one higher time frame, then you get the double bar break. Or if you're trading on a
I
higher
usually
time
the
frame
two
only,
two
so
minute
you're
bar
trading 5
break, but
minute,
yeah, this
a
is also
single
another way to get in.
candle takes
Signal.
out the low of the prior candle.
Single
Now, you don't
candle
wait for
takes
the
out the
close,
low of the
right?
prior
If
candle.
it just takes out the low, you
yeah,
can
no, I'm
take
watching the tape right there, and I just want to hit it.
That's exactly right. That's something that a lot of people are like, do you wait for the close? No, we wait for it to just clear the low of that because we already have the setup. Now we're executing the trade.
Yep. And to couple with that price action that Jeff is describing, right? Waiting for that break of the prior bar low, right? Because it's single time framing all the way up. That break has not happened yet. So that actually makes this setup better because that really means that something has changed. But we can also couple this with a signal in the RSI. So if we do this and also look for the RSI to return back to normal, right? So you see that overbought. on the next bar close, it returns back inside and it's not overbought anymore. We don't have to wait for that, but that could be some confirmation. Like you can add on that, right? Or
Right.
if you're not getting that and price is holding, like that might be a reason to get out. Because usually when that happens, that's like how I know I'm right.
Okay.
So with a stop above the candle high or you know, above the whole move high, if you really want to be more conservative about it. So we target VWAP on a play like this. And we also, in terms of the RSI, we can target the RSI midline. So here's the chart kind of extended out into the day, and you can see what happened. We short that break. It comes in, and we're kind of looking at VWAP because, you know, it could go lower, but I like to target VWAP because so
Kind of
many
like what
these
I
you just
tried to
don't
do
know
with
once it
Google
starts
today.
reverting to the mean like that. Like that is the mean for the day. That's a good move. So, you know, we get the midline touch on that first blue circle where you can take some profits because that's the RSI
Midpoint.
reverting to the mean.
Yeah, midpoint.
And then when it hits VWAP, you can take some more because that's price reverting.
Makes sense.
Does that make sense, Joe?
It does.
Okay. So let's
You just stole my rubber band trade, but that's okay.
yeah. let's look at another one real quick. A
Guy's a hater.
downside extension play, just to show that it can work
Guy's a
in
hater.
the other direction. So this is EJH. This happened
And
actually.
this is going to be something that I want to make sure we're making a very clear point here is if you have RSI in your chart, you are not predicting that this is going to occur on multiple time frames.
Right.
We're not sitting there and going, oh, I really hope it gets to oversold.
Right.
What we're doing is we're observing the price action. And as it gets to that oversold level, that 20 level in this case, and it gets below that 20 level, then we're focusing in. We're honing in and we're looking to check that higher time frame as well. Or
Gotcha.
we can look to check that higher time frame as well. If we have both those confirmed, then we're kind of thinking about our execution and what levels could we execute this trade on. So it is a really interesting thing to do, but wanted to make sure we're clearly talking about the process because really what RSI is giving us is a setup. It's giving us a trading setup, and we can make a bunch of different trades. And traders on the desk will make different trades off of this exact same setup. But we really do want to make sure that we're talking about it the right way. We're not looking at this in isolation and saying RSI, boom, press the keys.
RSI. Yeah, there were a couple people on my old trading floor that we called the RSI boys because anytime RSI would go up or go down, they would just use that as a trade.
That's such an important.
And let me tell you, they're not trading anymore.
That's so key. And as Brian Shannon would say, like it's an area of interest. He says that all the time. It's an area of interest, right? It's getting our attention. It doesn't mean we're going to get short or long. It just means, okay, you know what? Like this thing is starting to set up. Let's zoom in. Let's see what the tape looks. Let's get our trigger ready. So perfect. So we have EJH, overextension to the downside. It's like the mirror image of the last trade. And I think this was a liquidation or something, which is just quite insane. But yeah, we're getting the oversold signal on the RSI 1 minute. So we're going to check the 5.
Okay.
And we're getting it there as well. So we've got this thing setting up. And so what
Check
do
the
we do?
15.
We look for the break of that candle.
Never mind.
Right? And when something's like this extended, I mean, this was also halting. So, you know, you wouldn't really be trading this unless you probably trade halts, but it can be used on plays like this. So we break that prior candle, and that would get me in with a stop against the low in this case, because that's the previous candle and the low. And again, we're going to target VWAP and the 0 line on the RSI.
And this is for the long side instead.
Same bar there.
So this is the most common way traders on our desk will use RSI. Anybody that has RSI on their charts that understands it, this is the most common way that people use it with. The overbought, oversold, typically it's 80 and 20, not 70 and 30, which is the standard.
Okay.
What are some other ways? Because when I walk by your trading desk and we talk about ideas, you're not talking about it typically in overbought, oversold terms. How do you use RSI?
So I mean, this is my favorite way to use it. So this indicator was originally developed not to measure overextended conditions.
Okay, what was it made for?
To measure relative strength.
Right.
It's the relative strength
Relative
index.
strength index,
so it's really
right? Got
measuring
you.
strength. So what I like to do is use the RSI to screen for relative strength. So I set up a market view that includes RSI in a column in the market view, and I sort by RSI.
So in market view is just, that's a filtering tool that we have on the desk.
Yeah.
So it would be the same as building a scan.
Yeah, it's a
any
scanner.
sort of trading platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So this is a Thinkorswim market view right here.
Okay.
Anyone can do that. You know, I'm sure other platforms have these. We have it on the desk. But you can see, super simple. I'm taking the NASDAQ 100, and I have an RSI column in the middle there, and then I just click on that to sort by RSI so that the highest RSI readings are at the top. So this is going to sort by relative strength. So we're sorting the NASDAQ 100 by relative strength. And what I'll do is I'll just hook this up to my chart, and I'll just blow through charts. And for me, this is a way to just quickly see, especially when we've had a move like this in the market. Like,
see what stock is strong, what stock is not, what stock is strong, see what stock is not strong, and then use that to help you find a trade and whatnot. I get it.
Especially if they're holding up really well. And so, you know, there's a pullback trade that kind of comes from this, but this is how I prepare for it. I'll get my group of relative strength stocks. And so I'll just use this to blow through charts. And so we can kind of actually do this as an example, because I put some charts in here. I just put the top 8, and we can just blow through them really quickly. And what I'm going to do is, like, you know, I'm going to combine this with like other trading strategies to get long or short on the pullbacks. But this is just my way to get the list. Okay,
when
so
you're using this list,
it's just a scanning tool for
the
him.
setups that you might want to trade.
It's not a tool that he uses to get into
if
trades.
You're looking for strong stocks,
even though that's what they talked about just now, they use it, or at least he uses it as a tool to find the stocks that are relatively strong. So that way, when the market is strong and the market pulls back, he can use the stocks on the top of that list to buy the dips and get long, and that way have a better chance of having a break of high a day, instead of what most people do, which is trade your Microsofts, your Teslas, your Nvidias. They're not really having that relative strength on them that day. The market might not be having the relative strength on it that day, and that's why you get chopped up along with the market, whereas the ones with the relative strength just keep on ripping
really
up.
Good uses of RSI.
So he uses that as a scanner instead of a trading
but
tool.
There's one
like
other,
makes sense.
And I actually didn't know about this, so I'm excited for you to share it with us, because when we were prepping for this video that we're putting together and the uses of RSI, this one snuck up on me. And when you said it, it just like it made sense to me, but I've never looked to do this before. So
give me a
secret of yours.
Give me the secret.
I don't know how hidden it is, but yeah. So you can use the RSI to buy pullbacks. And when I started looking at the RSI, I started to notice on really strong stocks with really strong trends, the RSI would just live between 50 and 80.
Okay.
Right, it would get overbought, and then it would pull back.
Got you.
Go to 50, right, the midline.
Back,
and it would just bounce around in that upper
quadrant. I'm understanding what you're going. I'm kind of getting your drift over here.
So you could kind of gauge the RSI for those places where the pullback might be ready to buy. Okay, like these, they don't go all the way back.
And then you
20.
use the same idea. You wait to see if it come to 50, and if the stock is getting ready to create somewhat of a bottom, and you have a clear defined bottom, right side of the V. Oops, sorry, right side of the V, and then you catch that move back up. I like that.
But there's a specific use that I'm observing here,
I like
and it's
that.
only when something is trending.
I'm learning something here.
You can use that.
Only when it's trending.
Yes, that's one of the key criteria.
Oh, he's giving away all of his secrets, and he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it.
Want to be with
you're not going to use it when it's chopping around. That's not going to mean
not
anything.
At all.
But when it's trending, you can look for that reversion back to that midline.
Yes.
As a potential confirmation of the trade.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely. And remember that hourly chart of the Qs that we mentioned earlier? There were 2 setups on the chart. So here's that chart again, and I'm just kind of pointing out both of these setups. And what we're looking for here, it's kind of a 5-step process, okay? So 1, overbought or oversold, okay? Or close to it, right? So you can see, like, before that red circle, market came down, and the RSI reached just about 20. Okay, so we want to see that before this, because that's showing that the stock is very weak. And then we want to see that weak bounce. We want to see the RSI return to 50, return to that midline and hold.
So it looks like the variables for this specific setup are, first, we need something to get to that extreme. That in, if we're talking about the short, we want to see it get oversold first. And again, we're talking about the retracement short, so that midline. So first step is we want to see it pretty much get to oversold. What's it going to do on the higher time frame?
So on the higher time frame, you just want to make sure that it's not oversold.
Okay, so we're actually flipping the script on what we did before, where we said we are looking for it to get oversold on multiple time frames. In this case, we're actually looking for it to not
get
be
sold.
oversold on multiple time frames.
Because we're looking to catch
if it's
the
oversold
dips,
on the
or
shorter time
whatever
frame,
it
that's
is,
okay.
right?
But if it's oversold on both, we're
continuation.
eliminating this midline retracement trade.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the cues turn into an uptrend, and we get a long setup. Okay, and this one is actually much more clear, much more powerful, in my opinion, because you get the overbought signal, and then you get the reversion back to the midline very cleanly. Okay, so and then
You know what? I want to do a
we can
quick test over here, real quick. See how the QQQs did today on the RSI indicator basis. We'll fix this bad boy up real quick. Settings, inputs, style, 80, 20. Turn that off, turn it off, turn off. Leave that. Turn that off. Okay, good. So, if on the 5 minute we were sold off, right? Oversold on the 5 minute. What about the 15 minute? Oversold on the 15 minute. How about the 30 minute? Oversold on the 30 minute. How about the 60 minute? Oversold, not oversold on the 60 minute. Oh, okay. But oversold on most time scales so far that we just checked from 5 to 60. And if you were to look for a long, you basically would wait right here, get the long after the 2-bar break, something like this. Something like that 2-bar, or something like these 2 bars breaking. You get long right there. Your risk is low a day. About 50 cents to $1 risk, and your reward is back to VWAP. But as you can see, the trend, like they were just talking about, the trend continued because it hit the midpoint and it sold off one more time back to the downside for the market. But this time, it wasn't really that oversold, and the trend just kept getting continued after hitting the midpoint. So kind of makes sense on what they were just saying on that quick little test over here that we just did. Continue with the video.
Of the prior candle high, just like we were doing before, and we want to see the RSI in a long setup, for instance, get back above 50. Right, it's very, very similar to the setup that we outlined earlier. And then we can buy with a stop against the pullback low, trail a stop. So here's a 1 minute chart of the Qs during the recent bull run. So this is a 1 day trade here. One of those days over the past few weeks when the Qs have been really strong. The internals were really strong on this day. I mean, there were a lot of things kind of pointing to strength. So this is the kind of environment where you might be looking to trade this setup. So
mid,
it doesn't always work.
Long,
so you want to make sure you're with trend, like Jeff said. You want to combine it with price levels, combine it with market internals, and this can be done on the daily charts. Can be done to scalps intraday, right? So as you can see on this chart, we kind of did it. We did it twice, right? So in the morning, it gets overbought very cleanly, comes back, holds the 50, reclaims, right? And then you can use an ATR trailing stop, like in this case, to just stay in the trade. And, it happened one more time. So like any indicator, always remind yourself of what it's measuring. And remember, it's just math. Like, it's not magic. This is literally just math. And it's just helping us quantify these things so that we can either see them clearer, get a heads up like an alert, put them into a model. Very, very simple.
And one of the ways I've seen you use this is
Well
when
put.
you're looking at like
Just
0
math,
DTE
ladies and gentlemen,
options.
just
You're looking
numbers.
for this exact setup, this third setup, as a potential for a trigger for 0 DTE options. And I know we did a video on 0 DTE options and kind of some of the other factors that you look for in order to make a trade, a directional trade using 0 DTE options. So, maybe if you have more questions about this, we also covered the trailing ATR in that video, so you can go check that out as well.
Yeah, we can put that in the link in the description.
Awesome.
All right, thanks.
So you're an active trader, not doing as well as you want.
That was it, ladies and gentlemen. Once
deserve.
again, just gonna stop the video over there and give that spiel real quick. They have a class, they have an online program where they educate people. It's for free. If you haven't checked out SMB Capital yet, go check them out. I literally call them the Trading Bible on YouTube. It's the best content out there. I learned a lot of new things watching this video today. Hopefully you did too. And my goodness, I think I can't wait to incorporate some of the stuff that I learned from this video today into my trading going forward, and just keep on elevating by 1%. That's all it takes. Keep elevating by 1%. In yesterday's videos that we were looking at, Lance talks about, creating a routine and falling in love with that routine. Maybe that routine involves something as simple as logging your trades and then kind of looking at your trades, and then creating a watch list, maybe even reading a book, a couple pages of a book to expand your trading a little bit, or watching a video like I am. This whole stream is basically my routine. The stream is my whole routine, and I'm basically putting out my whole routine on blast for millions of people on the world, even though it's not a million people watching me, but millions of people on the world, to kind of get an idea of what professional traders, professional day traders working at an actual working office environment, what did they do? And at least the ones who want to succeed, what did they do going out every single day, and what type of work they're putting in. So hopefully you guys are learning something from this, and watching this video together, we learned a lot today. So that will be all for tonight. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, Thursday, the final stream of the week, so make sure you tune in for that one. Today was a good fun stream. Lots of trades talked about, so if you haven't checked out those trades ideas already, make sure you circle back to the stream from today and kind of watch that, get yourself an idea of that watch list that we have going. If you want to subscribe to that watch list, you can do so by going and checking out my Patreon. All links are down below. You can also subscribe to me on a bunch of other social media platforms: Discord, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. I should say X now instead of Twitter, but all that fun stuff, all the links right down below, along with, the last but not least, my affiliate sponsors who actually help keep the stream alive. So thank you to TraderSync, thank you to Benzinga, thank you to Trade Ideas. You can check out all of those softwares along with their specific discount codes in the description below also. So go check out all that fun stuff. If you haven't hit the like or subscribe yet, it's okay. It doesn't really matter. I will see you tomorrow anyways. See you tomorrow at 8 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night. Have an even better trading day. And come back, please. Ciao. Good night.